Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. I hope everybody's been having an amazing week, an amazing start to your month, and that everything is going as well as it can be. I know I've taken a little bit of time to get back on here and film and bring these podcast episodes to you guys. And the reason for that is because I needed to take some time and realign myself with what I wanted my values to be, what I wanted the podcast to become, what I wanted the coaching program to become, so that I could give you guys my best, right? And with that, I want to tell you that when you are trying to force things to happen, they don't happen. If you try to force things might not come out as you want them to, right? So that's what we're going to talk about today, is how alignment always wins, right? So we know that we live in this world that glorifies grind, right? We push harder, we work through pain, we make things happen no matter what happens, right? You have to show up no matter what. And don't get me wrong, I love discipline. Like, I'm the girly that's going to say, like, let's go. Your feelings don't really matter. We're going to do this, right? Because hard work is very powerful. Discipline is beautiful, but there's a difference between disciplined action and forcing something that's just not aligned. So, for me, a personal story, and a hard-earned lesson that I learned about forcing myself through situations was leading to burnout, frustration, and misaligned outcomes was when I was trying to, come back on the podcast. Honestly, for the last month and a half, I was just running on fumes, dealing with everything else going on in my life. Forcing the podcast, I would sit for hours to record and nothing would come out right. I didn't feel like myself. The podcast episodes that I would record didn't feel like it was my voice. And it was just very hard to complete a full episode. I didn't have, the drive, the desire to do what I'm supposed to do, which is, edit and put up videos, put up Instagram posts, put up TikTok posts. I just felt very, very drained and uninspired. So, that's how you know the difference when you are forcing things and not aligning. So, let's start with the obvious, right? The myth of hustle and force. We're told everywhere we just need to push harder. If we want the dream body, we force ourselves into the gym, no matter how we feel. If we want the successful business, we hustle 24/7, sleep less, and sacrifice everything. If we want our relationship to work, we keep bending, we keep giving, and ignore our own needs, not realizing that maybe that relationship isn't what we want it to be and it's not your person. For a while, you can do that. You can force, you can keep pushing, you can make yourself do something, but eventually your body, your mind, and your spirit will tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, you know what? That's enough. And that's what happened to me through various occasions. So another thing that I used to do was force myself in the gym. You have to go to the gym 6 times a week. You have to show up for 2 hours, yada, yada, yada. My old coach used to tell me that. And so when I sprained my leg, when I sprained my leg, I still showed up to the gym. I'm like, I can do upper body. I could do legs if I don't actually fully step on my foot. Maybe we'll just walk a little bit to try to get my foot back in motion. But my body was honestly telling me to stop, rest, and recover. And I ignored all of the signals because I told myself, no excuses, push through. Well, that didn't make me stronger. That actually delayed everything. It delayed my healing. It delayed me coming back into the gym 100%. It delayed me feeling better about myself because I, was injured and did not listen to my body signs and pushed through, right? Even in business, I used to struggle to put it away, put it down, when I first came into this space, I remember I'm like, okay, cool, we're going to work 12 hours, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and we're just going to hustle through to get it going. But then I found myself copying other people, because you look up to people in this space. There's other coaches, there's other business owners that I know. I have a lot of friends that are amazing and they're having beautiful lives. And that's what inspires me to keep this going because I know it's going to work. But I was copying people. I didn't have my own voice. It was like I was faking my passion because I was just trying to do the work. And God told me, hey, you need to align yourself. You just stop and rethink everything and realign yourself to your values and ours, right? So what does that feel like? What does alignment actually feel like? What's the difference? So with alignment, things aren't always going to be easy, but it feels right. It feels like you're moving with the current instead of swimming against it. The best example that I'm going to give you guys is, how we have those pools at I don't know, here it's at Michigan Adventures, but like Six Flags, things like that, where you're in a pool. And then, you're just chilling, and then a buzzer goes off, and then you hear the buzzer, and then the big waves come in, and you're just crashed into with waves of water. I feel like sometimes our life feels like that. It's like, cool, we're going with the flow, we're walking, we're doing the thing, and then we try to speed things up. And that's us pushing that buzzard and letting all of that chaos into our lives. Life is not supposed to feel like that. So you're swimming with the current. Everything's peaceful. Everything's aligned. And for me, when I shifted everything, right? So I shifted the way that I showed up to the gym. I shifted the way that I showed up for my business. I shifted the way that I showed up for my friends, family, my son. That's when everything felt lighter. I started to take more action. I started to feel more inspired. I started to film more. I started to get more content ideas. And now I'm back here, Everything needs to feel at peace, And if you haven't found that for your life, that's okay. For me, working with my body, because my leg is shorter than one of them, I had to figure out, hey, you know what? Maybe you don't need to hit the gym 6 times a week. Maybe it's 4, and then you break it down and you do different types of exercises. Maybe for my business, maybe I could just work 2 hours a week. 2 hours a day. Wake up early and do what you got to do so that you don't feel burnout or that you are, ignoring your son or your family. You stop chasing and you stop trying so hard and actually have priorities and real goals. That's the way that your life is going to change. That's the way that you're not going to feel like you're in this crashing of everything. Alignment is that feeling when you're doing the hard things, but they're purposeful, energizing, and meaningful. Right? So I want to give you guys some signs that you're forcing versus flowing, and then when you're in alignment. So like I shared, when you're forcing, you dread showing up, you feel heavy, tired, resentful. You keep thinking, maybe if I just try harder, it'll work. You keep thinking, I need to do this, so I need to just push through the pain, push through the resentfulness, push through the anger, push through this, push through that, right? You're chasing external validation, right? When you're in alignment, you're still working, but you feel clear and energized. Challenges don't feel like brick walls. They feel like steps that you are willing to take. you're connected to your why, and you're at peace even if the progress is slow. I'm going to repeat that one because that's the one that hit me the most. You're at peace even if your progress is slow. Progress is everything. And that is the biggest lesson that I've learned so far. It's not a destination. It's not when you have X amount of money. It's not when you have X amount of cars, the house that you want, whatever. It's the progress. It's the person you get to become while doing all of this. It's the person that you become after you realize, like, cool, man, I just went through that challenge. And then you come out the other end better than you were. It's about service. It's about, taking a step back and saying, like, external validation. What even is that? Do I need that? Why do I need external validation? Get rid of it. Dig deep and get rid of your external validation, because nothing out there is going to make you feel complete. It's all in here. It's all internal. Nothing outside of me makes me me. What makes me me is whatever is me, and that's it. We came in the world without pockets. Why are we so caught up on gaining stuff that we're not even going to be able to take with us? Why don't we value our everyday moments? Why don't we value being of service? Why don't we value helping other people grow, helping other people get better? Because we're seeking external validation. But your progress is what you are actually going to have forever. Nobody's ever going to be able to take the skills that you learn. Nobody's ever going to take anything that you build within yourself. Ever. Everything can crumble for me. But you know what? I'm going to keep it going, keep it steady, keep it calm, because I can get it all again. Because the skills and the things that you do, if they are actually skills, you can do it again. So, yeah, progress. That's what you're going to win all the time, right? So stop seeking external validation, guys. Honestly, no. So how do we shift into alignment, right? I want to invite you to check in with yourself. Like, where are you in your life right now? What are you forcing? What are you pushing yourself through? And what are the things that you wish you had right now that would make you feel at flow? Just take a few minutes, journal through that, right? So check in with yourself. What am I forcing? What am I pushing myself through? And where in my life am I actually feeling in flow? So, like I said, slow down and check in. Let go of shoulds. So much forcing comes from thinking we should be doing something because others are. Because we're expected to. Because we're afraid of falling behind. Drop that should have or I should be doing mentality and focus on what's true for you. Like I said, the moment that I realized that I didn't have 12 hours to work on a business, but I did 2, 3, maybe 4 on the weekends and added it up during the week, that's when things changed for me. I didn't have to be at the gym 6 days a week. Actually, I'm seeing way more progress now that I'm doing 4 because my body's getting the rest that it needs. And it's, just, it's me not forcing my body to go through pain. Trust your intuition. Trust yourself. Trust your Holy Spirit to lead you towards the right things. If something feels heavy or wrong, listen. Because alignment isn't about quitting when things get hard. It's about knowing the difference between a challenge that's going to grow you and knowing the difference between a situation, business, etc. that's just not going to work out for you. I remember that when I first started, at 17, I launched my very first brand. This isn't my first brand, Kingdom Culture. The very first brand that I had, I was 17. I launched it. I also launched it with the mind of being this for somebody. It was called Made for Greatness. I always knew I wanted to be a coach. I always knew that I wanted to help people with, traumas and pains and hurts. So I called it Made for Greatness. And I remember that it was a orange background, black letters. And then when I came to Christ, I actually added a cross on the T for greatness. And I had, a whole new logo made up. But that whole time, I was trying to be a salesperson for actual product. Like, I don't know. I was forcing myself to talk to people, like cold marketing. I was forcing myself to do, like product events. And I didn't like it. I was forcing myself to make something work because I did not want to align myself. And it was painful. When I didn't get a sale, it hurt me. When I didn't close, I got angry. I'm like, why isn't this working? But it's working for somebody else. But then I realized, like, I'm not called to do that. I'm called to be of service. I'm called to help other people one-on-one. I'm called to dig deeper than just selling them a one-time product. And the moment that I realized that, everything for me changed and kingdom culture came into my mind. And I'm like, why don't I just launch a podcast and give my, all of the value on our YouTube, channel. And it was just so beautiful because I got so excited. I get so excited every time I'm filming because I'm in alignment. I love doing this. You can sit me in front of a camera for hours and I'll just talk. But that's, what you need to figure out. It's like, trust yourself and know that you already know what steps to take, but you're ignoring because you're in fear. You're in fear of what's not going to work. You're in fear that you're not making the right decision, but you already know. So trust your intuition, and then after that takes aligned action, right? Because the moment that you know what you have to do, you got to follow it with action. It's not just going to fall on your lap. Don't just sit back and wait. When it feels right, move. Move with intention. Move fast. And even if you fail, keep going because you are taking a step in the right direction. You are making it work. You are learning something new and you are trusting yourself that this is what you're supposed to be doing above anything else. And you're going to make it. Do it with intention, with discipline, not desperation. And that's when things are going to shift. So like I said, don't force yourself to do things. Allow yourself to trust yourself and know that you are doing the right thing. And trust the Lord, right? Trust that you are truly in relationship with Him and that you are going to do it because the promises that He makes, He doesn't break. And as always, I want to leave you guys with a 5 verse. And I love this verse for this week because it's so true, right? And it helps us see where God wants us in alignment. And it's in Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways, submit to Him and He will make your paths straight. It's a reminder that we don't have to force things by our own strength or limited understanding. When we trust God, align our hearts with Him and surrender the outcome, He leads us on the right path. So we're not just striving or hustling or doing things just because, right? You're doing it because it's divine alignment. You're doing it because it's what you were called to do. You're doing it because that was what your purpose is in life. And I want you to remember that you always have a purpose. God didn't just choose you because. And if you don't believe in the Lord, life just gets a lot easier when you're not trying to hustle for outside things. You don't feel as heavy. You don't feel as pressured. And I just pray that you can align yourself to what you're supposed to be doing in this life because it's beautiful once you figure it out. But anyways, remember that I love you, but that the Lord loves you more. Always, always, always. Remember to like the video, share it, put it on your stories, you guys. Help the, Kingdom Culture family grow. I truly appreciate it. Thank you again so much for those that have been here and are supporting me. It's so great to be back. And we'll see you guys next week. God bless.